Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Dell laptop. This is a Dell Inspiron 3793. Alright, let's go ahead and get some thumbnails here. So Dell Inspiron 17-3000. So this is a Dell Inspiron 3793. Okay, so we'll do that for a thumbnail. And here's the back. Alright, so we're going to be replacing the battery in here because the customer was getting a thing saying that the battery is bad. Alright, we're going to be using a PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. I like to work on it with the hinges facing away from me, and we're just going to undo all the screws. You want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. It looks like this screw might actually stay attached to the cover. Alright, but once we get the screws out, to keep them in order, what I do is I put them flat side down on my desk in the pattern I remove them. But so far it looks like most of these screws are staying attached to the cover, okay? Alright, so this one comes out. What I do is I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them. If this video helps you out, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Right? If you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. Other than that, I do have another channel called It's Been Reviewed and More. Same profile picture, but zoomed in because it's a close look at random stuff that I review. Alright, currently I do post those videos on this channel as well, but hopefully in the future it's going to be a completely separate thing and I won't be posting those videos here. Alright, anyways, you can, if you're just removing the optical disk drive, you only need to remove these two screws. Once you do that, I slide my fingernail up and down the thing here as I kind of pull on it. If it doesn't come out that way, you can use like a pin to, or a folded out paper clip to eject the CD drive. There's a little hole here. You basically just put it in there, and if you get it right, you can see it ejects the CD drive, and then you can actually grab here to pull that out, okay? But usually just doing this works. All right, so you can actually replace this with a 2.5 inch SATA hard drive or SSD enclosure adapter kind of thing, which would replace this whole CD drive. You would have to transfer this piece over, and just make sure it's this SATA connection. It's the thinner 9.5 millimeter thickness, I believe. They have a thicker like 12 point something, 12.7 or something, so make sure you get the right size. All right, there's two more screws here that we need to remove before we can take the bottom cover off. So make sure you get all the screws out. Okay, now that we got all the screws out, or at least the ones that want to come out, these ones seem to be stuck in there. So these four up here and then the one here. Then we're going to go ahead and flip this over. And what I like to do is we'll go from the gap here between the palm rest and the bottom cover. I'll get my fingernails in there and then I'll push with my thumb on the back, and this should help me pop the clips, okay? Just like this, and we just work our way all the way around. All right, if you don't have fingernails, you can use pry tools, or you can wait till your fingernails grow out. But basically, we just work our way around. Be careful with the area with the ports because it's a little bit more fragile, the plastic in those areas. Okay, and we'll just continue working our way around, just like this. This portion, what you need to do is pull this plastic piece outwards as you kind of lift, because this clip is kind of hooked over the top here. Okay, so there you go. We unclip that. And there we go. We got most of it out. Okay. For some reason, it's still stuck back here. Make sure the screws are undone all the way. Okay, and then I like to pull up here, push down with my thumb. You can see how it's kind of coming up. Okay, it's caught on some clips there, and there we go. It looks like we pulled from here, and that helped get it out. All right, I'm going to be careful with flipping this over because I don't want the screws to fall out. All right, so here you can actually see this one screw has a little metal kind of washer thing that holds the screws in place. But these other screws, it's because the threading, you see they only have the thread on the very end, and then it's smooth all the way up the rest of the screw. So that's how the screws stay in place. So you don't want to leave this upside down, because if it wobbles around, these screws might fall out. But yeah, we'll set that aside. Okay, and here's the inside of the laptop. I'm going to center it for a thumbnail. It looks pretty clean inside, but since we have it open, I'm gonna brush the fan and then just use my electric air blower to clean it out. So let me do that real quick and I'll be back. All right, so we cleaned out the fans and all the dust all around there. Basically, we're just replacing the battery, but I will go over the internal components in here. Okay, so to be safe, we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the battery first. All right, we'll go ahead and remove the screws. If you want, you can actually disconnect the connector quick first from here to make it a little bit safer to work on. So usually there's wings of this little connector, the white plastic, and you kind of just wiggle it as you pull, and it should eventually walk its way out. Okay. Oh, this one's kind of being tough. Actually, this doesn't really have wings, so it's more like you kind of have to just pull on it, but I don't know, it's tough. I think it'll be easier if we actually pull the battery up. So let me actually go ahead and undo all the screws first. If you're wondering, the battery model number is right there. It's YRDD6. I'll show a close up in a bit, but let me go ahead and get all these screws out. Since the battery's still connected, you want to be careful. I mean, either way, be careful. Don't drop stuff on the motherboard, but you want to be extra careful because now there's still power that can go through the board and short out. All right, now that we got all the screws out, we can lift this up. I'm going to go underneath here, okay? And we have access to the connector. And, oh, it already came out on one side. So we can kind of wiggle this. Normally, come on, why is only one side staying attached? There we go, and there's the connector. So it does have like slight wings here that you can grab. See, usually I use my fingernails on those and then wiggle it to pull it out. All right. Oh, my cat is getting curious. All right. I want to make sure these pins look okay and they're fine. Okay. So after we get the battery out, it's always a good idea if you're working on other components in here to slowly, carefully open up the laptop and then press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds to drain any residual power. All right. This makes it a lot safer to work on, especially if you're going to be messing with the screen cables and things like that. So yeah, take 15 seconds, hold down the power button. It'll greatly reduce the risk of damaging your computer. Once you do that, you don't want to just close the thing. You want to actually put pressure on the back of the hinges here. So push on the hinges to close it. So just like this, okay? The reason being, if you just try and close it, these posts are going to take a lot of force, especially since there's no extra screw here. And that can actually snap those plastic posts off. I like to double check, make sure these screws are all tight. It's a little bit loose. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here now. You got the power button board here, okay? It's on a replaceable, removable board. I'm not gonna mess with it, but it's under there and it's attached with this little ribbon cable that connects right there. These have little flip latches that you flip and then you can pull the cable out easily. This is the LCD LVDS connector here. Same thing, there's a flip latch on this side, you flip it up and then you can pull that connector out. Again, if you're gonna mess with this, disconnect the battery first, open the laptop, press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds, and then again, carefully close it by pushing the hinges. All right, you got the optical disk drive, CD drive, DVD drive, whatever you want to call this connector here, SATA connector. So if this breaks, you can replace it, 2 screws holding it down. This kind of connector, you have this latch that you kind of pull this thing up slightly. You want to be careful to only pull it up a little bit because if you yank too hard, you can actually rip this out. I've seen people break these. And then you're going to have a really tough time getting these back in because you do need this plastic thing in here for the connector to work. Same thing with that side. Fan connectors right here, same thing. It has the little wings that you grab and then just wiggle like this, and that will pull that out. Okay, GPU is under here, CPU is under here. This looks like the graphics VRAM, but I don't know. It's not really getting thermal protection, so that's kind of strange. Oh, my cat's gonna end up knocking everything out. You got 2 sticks of RAM here. It's a PC4 2666V. So same way as all RAM, you just pull these 2 tabs to the side. Well, not all RAM, some are different, but like 99% of RAM, there's these 2 metal tabs. Okay, you pull these to the side and the stick of RAM will pop up and then you can pull that out. So you should be able to use any DDR4 PC4 RAM if you want. Right now RAM is super expensive, but you can get 2 16 gig sticks. All right, DC jack charge port connectors right here, same thing. Grab the wings, wiggle to pull it out. If you want to take the charge port out, you do have to undo these screws. Then you can lift the hinge up slightly, and then you can pull that up and take it out. It looks like there's a screw holding that down as well, so make sure you remove that screw. Okay, wireless card is right here, one screw. You can slide this white plastic or the clear plastic thing back and then lift it off to get the antennas out, go from the tail and then pop them out. And yeah, the wireless card comes up basically like the RAM, and then you can pull it out. There's an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD here. It is a shorter one. If you put a full-sized M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD, throw this metal plate away. You're not going to use that because it will stab into the SSD with these little metal pieces here. So this is not needed for the full-sized M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD. It's only for this tiny one. All right, speaker connection is right here. You can actually remove it without taking this metal plate off, but there's a little bit of room there, so it's kind of hard. But anyways, the speaker connects there, and then that speaker has a wire going to the other speaker, so they both connect in that one spot. Hard drive or 2.5-inch SATA SSD, hard drive, whatever you put here, is right here. Okay, 4 screws. Once you remove the 4 screws, you can lift the whole thing out. This connector isn't secured down to the board, so the whole thing will come up. Be careful that you don't rip this cable in the process. And then you can take this out. Hold on, my cat's messing with stuff. All right, so like I was saying, you want to disconnect this cable and then separate it from the hard drive or SSD. This is a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive, and you can upgrade it to an SSD. And what else? You have this separate board here for the CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery. It uses a standard CR2032. There's also a USB port there and SD card slot. Okay, so if this breaks or if something's going wrong with the BIOS, it's not saving the date and time, you'll have to replace this battery. If that doesn't work, you might have to replace this whole board and the battery. That connects right here, and there is a flip latch for that one there as well. Okay. There's an extra little flip latch here. It says JFP, so some models, they have a fingerprint reader. That's where that would connect. This one doesn't have that. What else? Okay, you also have a keyboard connector here with a flip latch, and some models have a backlit keyboard. This one specifically doesn't, so that's why this connector is empty. And then if I didn't mention, touchpad, trackpad connector, flip latch here, other flip latch here. So if you need to replace that, it is held in with screws. You can easily replace the touchpad if that gets broken. Keyboard is held in with melted plastic, so if you need to replace that, I would highly recommend just replacing the entire palm rest keyboard assembly. And I think that's pretty much it for me to talk about in here. So let's go ahead and install the new battery, and that should be it. So this is the battery. It came in this shrink wrapped baggie, so we're gonna just tear this shrink wrappy stuff off. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get this guy out of here. Jeez. Okay, there we go, and here we go. So it does come with some tools. I'm not using any of those. Same thing, YRDD6, okay? We do need to pull the connector out of the old one. So the old one here has this connector that we need to take out. You can actually see the battery is slightly inflated. I don't know if you can actually see it in the video, but oh, there you go. So it's slightly inflated. This one is actually the opposite. It's slightly under, like dipping. So anyways, we're gonna grab the connector here, and then you just wiggle this to pull it out, just like that. Okay, and we'll grab the new battery and we'll plug this one in. So grab it like that, and then make sure you push it evenly. You'll feel it click into place. And that's pretty much it for swapping the cable over. Pretty simple to do. We're gonna go ahead and get this all lined back up, reconnect it, and then we will put the thing back together. Okay, so when you go to put the connector back in, make sure that you push it in straight. You don't want it to go crooked. I've seen some people where they brought their computer after replacing the battery. They said it wasn't working. It's because they put the connector in crooked, bent one of the pins, and then shoved it all the way into the back. And that's pretty difficult to repair, so make sure that when you put this connector in, it goes in straight. I like to use both my fingernails on the back of the connector and then on the other side and pinch it together so it goes in straight, just like that. All right, so we got the battery in, or the connector in. Now we just gotta line the screw mounts back up, get the 4 screws back in, and then close it all up, and we should be good to go. All right, pretty simple to install this. Usually after installing any new hardware, I would recommend doing a restart. So when you start it up and you get the Windows thing to log in, instead of logging in right away, go into the shutdown menu and then click restart, okay? I highly recommend doing that when you do any hardware changes. Sometimes even if you just take hardware out and then put it back in. All right, I did notice one thing with the speaker here. The rubber isn't mounted right, so I'm gonna actually fix that if I can. Hopefully it's a simple pop it out and pop it back in. Let me see if I can show you this better. It's gonna be weird because I have to put it upside down maybe. Okay, so this rubber piece, you see it's all weird, jacked up. So we're gonna lift the speaker up. You gotta wiggle it slightly, carefully. There we go. And it might be stuck in that, yeah, it's stuck in that weird messed up shape. So try and like massage it out a little bit to make it a little bit less lumpy. What I'm gonna do is, if you look at this, it has a little gap on the side. So the way you put that is you pinch it this way and then you slide it in. You see how it has this ridge to slot it? I'm gonna put this side first so this can line up with that little hole, and that way it's not an issue since the thing is all messed up here. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and slot this here. All right, there's not much room, so it would help if you use some needle nose pliers or something. Okay, so we'll just grab this like this. Oreo, leave the cats alone. Okay, so use the needle nose pliers and then we'll slot it in like that. Okay, and then we'll just continue pinch it and slot it in some more. Oops, it's a little bit tricky here. Okay, and just slot it in. And then grab that, pinch further, slot it in some more. Oh no, it jumped over the edge. So yeah, this is a little bit tricky to do, but you get the idea. Okay, slot it in. Make sure that one end stays above and the other stays below. And oh, it keeps wanting to jump out because of the messed up crinkle in the thing. Okay. I'm gonna have to try. Let's try this again. Okay, work it in there. And then I can actually just use this to kind of help pull it the rest of the way, maybe. The thing is, this edge doesn't have the lip anymore. So I guess that's, maybe it's not gonna work. All right, that's probably as good as we're gonna get it. Let's see if it will be able to slot in without it just popping this back out. Okay, so you line it up with the little circle raised post and then push it down, and there we go. All right, and that worked. Okay, so now you can see it's a lot better, more aligned properly. Okay, now what we're gonna do, we're just gonna get the bottom cover back on because we have the battery and everything else installed properly. Let's zoom out a bit more. Okay, so we got that bottom cover. You just get it on top, line it up. Okay, then you can go ahead and push this down. You can hear it click into place. Okay, I'm using my palm. Basically, I'm pushing down and in towards the center. Okay, make sure this goes in. Same thing, you can kind of pull it back out slightly to get it to go where that clip is. And then there we go. And now we just got to get all these screws back in. I always like to twist it backwards, hear it click, and then tighten it down. Okay. And then we'll just continue all the way around. Same thing, backwards, hear it click, tighten it down. Backwards click, here, tighten it down. All right. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We're just gonna go ahead and get all these screws back in. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, again, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Again, if you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. I also, again, have another channel called It's Been Reviewed and More. Same profile picture, but zoomed in because it's a close look at things. Currently, those videos are on this channel as well. But again, I'm hoping to eventually just put them only on that channel. So yeah, it'll help a lot if you could subscribe to that one. We'll get the CD drive back in. Just push it quickly like that. All right. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You're welcome to stay as I get all the rest of the screws back in. We'll power it back on. If the CMOS BIOS battery was removed or that connector was removed, keep in mind that when you go to turn it on, it will take a bit longer for it to power up because the date and time and the CMOS BIOS was reset. Resetting the BIOS isn't going to reset the BIOS or CMOS password. So if you have a password lock on there on the BIOS, keep that in mind. Resetting the BIOS isn't going to get rid of that. Otherwise, that's not a very good security measure, right? So yeah, some computers do actually have a BIOS reset like jumper thing, but I don't know if all computers have that. They might. Maybe it's just somewhere on the motherboard and I don't know where. But yeah, other than that, we'll get all these screws in, we'll power it up, see, make sure it works, and that's pretty much it. All right, we also need to make sure that all the clips went back in properly, so flip this over. All right, look all around the edge, make sure it's all clipped down. This looks like it might need a little pushing. Okay, actually it's good. All right, and that's pretty much it. We'll power it up. The battery should have some charge. I do see the caps lock light is on. If for some reason your screen doesn't come on even after like 10-20 minutes, you'll want to double check the RAM because there's a good chance you might have damaged the RAM or didn't insert it properly, or the RAM is dirty. So yeah, anyways, you can see it turned on. Again, it's always a good idea to do a restart. So we got this, we'll click that and we'll do a restart. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. All right, let's drop this. Bye.